Literal, overt, physical colonialism is largely a thing of the past, something we left behind, for the most part. But a different kind of colonialism exists to this day, a colonialism of ideas. All of your ideas and frameworks of how you see reality are shaped by your cultural and historical upbringing and circumstances. That seems so obvious and everyone agrees with that. It's not a very contrarian take. But the thing is, being able to rationalize and show that you can understand something by rationalizing it versus genuinely experiencing it are actually two very different things. I can, for example, model exactly how a basketball player would throw a ball into a hoop perfectly, mechanically, using principles of physics every time. But doing that doesn't give me the intuitive knowledge of knowing when to slightly adjust my throw due to the wind or something like this. It's a completely different skill set. Knowing something rationally and understanding it intuitively are not always the same. They're fundamentally different things. And you only really understand or get the idea that your cultural and historical upbringing by pure circumstance of wherever you grew up or were born affects your thinking when there are some kind of moments that demonstrate this really clearly. And this happens very infrequently, and even when it does happen, it's actually still difficult to recognize. This only really becomes apparent and relevant when there's some kind of thing that you witness or event that slaps you in the face and literally shows you exactly how this manifests. I recently watched a documentary on a mummy, an Inca mummy from the kind of Inca Empire, I guess, from the 1500s. It's a perfectly preserved, maybe I'll get a photo of it, perfectly preserved mummy from about 500 years ago. This girl that was up in the mountains, and she had all of her artifacts with her, and it was kind of like a perfect preservation of Inca society. Obviously, you watch that and it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting little story. But for me, this begged a bigger question, right? There's an entire branch of history and culture and people that has essentially been erased from history, from knowledge, from understanding. Like, how much do you personally really know about Native American history? And even using that time period specifically as an example, like that's from what, the 15th century. These are people that still interacted with, say, the Spanish colonialists, and that's why we even know about them. That's why they're one of the most famous civilizations from South America. But really think about how much you actually know about South American civilization from 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Nobody knows anything, and that's because their entire language and people and ways of thinking and frameworks have basically just been lost to history. This was one of those events that I was talking about earlier for me, because I'm someone that's always been interested in history. I thought anyway that I had a decent picture in my mind because I enjoy learning and have learned a lot about different histories and different peoples and different cultures throughout time. I discovered that even when doing this, my picture was always confined. And there's this kind of framework I use to rationalize this, which is the kind of old world versus new world. So the old world being Europe, parts of Northern Africa, so like West Africa, East Africa, North Africa, as well as Western Asia. Those kind of civilizations had high levels of interaction with each other throughout history. What happens is that you kind of get this bubble of thinking that human ideas and human history are confined to that place and those people when they're really not. So the Egyptians, the Mesopotamians, the Greeks, the Romans, the whatever. And this isn't really about history in particular or South America in particular. That's not what this channel is. That's not what this video is really about. It's the fact that without even realizing it, you can have a huge gap in your knowledge and understanding of something. And the thing is, mystery creates intrigue. So I'm not making the point that there was some lost civilization from South America that had this super alien technology that has been lost to time. And no, that's not my point. We don't even know. The mind races in terms of potentials and possibilities. And really what's the most valuable thing for me anyway, is that there's entirely new perspectives and worldviews that we haven't even thought to look into. It's not that we've even rationalized against them or anything like that. It's that we take for granted everything we think about the way we perceive the world around us. Like, people get this idea, even if they don't state it explicitly, that there's this kind of natural orders and rules to the way they view the world and the frameworks they have for doing different things in their mind. as if it's like written in the sky or something. So different philosophies about morality, or how we do something like science, or how we use something like religion and culture, we can kind of rationalize as to why they're not concrete, but no one actually acts and lives their life as if they're not concrete. People still have the positioning as if these things are literally like from the sky, when in reality, all of your worldviews, all of the frameworks and mental models that people use today, at their core, they start with subjectivity. They start with someone with some idea, someone like you. That doesn't necessarily mean all ideas are the same. That doesn't necessarily mean that all ideas deserve to survive the test of history. That's not my point. The point is that it's not as rigid as you implicitly think it is, and there is so much that you do not even think to consider is worth looking into, because it's very hard to do that meta reflection and to step out of that frame. And the reason I see this as important is because it links to potential. It links to what we can possibly do and know and experience and build as a society, but also on an individual level. Just the idea of untapped knowledge, or a perspective shift that is locked away or limited from us or constrained by something as simple as lack of understanding or ignorance, seems like a constraint that has no place in the 21st century, a constraint that has no place in a world where information is more widely accessible than ever before. If you want to learn more about my specific views on this and my kind of worldview and philosophy, I have a full separate video on that. I'll include a link for that somewhere. But to conclude, the purpose of this video was essentially to make a record of the fact that I think I have identified a constraint in the way people think and perceive the world around them that not many people are really talking about. If you want more of a practical, in-depth, full guide on all of the knowledge I have learned from studying something like formal mathematics, ranging from everything to maximizing cognitive potential through nutrition and extracting the meta skills of mathematics into daily life so that you can use it practically for yourself, I'm actually developing a full course on that. I'll include the link to that below. Anyone that signs up using that link through the newsletter in there will get 50% off the full course on launch. To keep seeing more analysis and fresh perspectives like this, subscribe to the channel and like this video so that more people can see it and the discourse continues to grow. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching and have a nice day.